Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about purchase lease options. I do a training course. If you're interested, it's available online. Not only that, but I do a buy, refurb, refinance course which touches on development, and I do buying at auctions. If you are thinking of buying at an auction, please get my course. It will save you a lot of pain and a lot of money. Just email me and I can let you have details of how to buy that. So, purchase lease options, what are they? And I'm just going to give you another way that you can use them. They're my favorite things. Let's give a little bit of background. When I started in property, I was scammed and I bought two properties with a guaranteed buyback and guaranteed rent for 3 years, and it was going to make me £50,000. Sounded brilliant, but it was a scam. The guy went bankrupt and the company went bust, and it was just a scam because we had a personal guarantee and a company guarantee, and they went bust, and it was just awful. However, so that put me into basically nearly £2,000 a month costs I was having to cover each month and nothing coming in. And that was very, very hard. So what do you do? So I went training, and one of the first things I learned, because I didn't have any money left, and the truth be told, I actually bought the second house on credit cards and bid of the first. And I can tell you, I had £49,000 on credit cards at one time. 49,000. And I was like that. Because not only, this is why it was costing me about £2,000 a month. It was like that. It was terrible. Plus my own living, and I'd taken a 2/3 salary drop from my chefing job in London, where they gave me a flat in Knightsbridge and everything, to doing community development work, and I started on a salary of £19,000 a year. So, you know, working was never going to keep me above water. So what did I have to do? I did anything. I was doing extra jobs. I was doing anything to earn the money. Look, many of you watching this, you'll have that entrepreneurial spirit that if you lost, money today, lost everything, you'd be out in one of the supermarket car parks washing cars to earn money to feed your family. It's just something that we have inherent in us. I don't know what it is, but it's that drive. We would never be sitting at home saying, oh, woe be me, the government's got to pay me. I wouldn't be doing it. It's not in me, and I'm sure not in you either. So the thing is that this scam, it was very, very painful. And when you have pain, especially with money, you've got to think, what can I do to get out of it? It's no good crying and saying that. And I can tell you, there were 21 owners that did the same, got scammed. Most of those, majority, so over 11 of them have gone bust and handed the keys back and went bankrupt. All right. I'm one of the few who survived. Why? Because I went off and did options. So I learned this purchase lease option. What is it? It's a legal contract that when you find a property, you agree with the owner that you will buy it in a future time period. So you establish a future price to buy it at, a time, and some sort of remuneration. So that will be, normally I would just pay their mortgage every month. But if they haven't got a mortgage on that property, I will pay them a rent. But let's supposing the rent is £1,000 a month. Then the maximum you would really pay is around about 70% of that. You'd pay hopefully 650, 700, something like that, to leave yourself a buffer. Because don't forget, you've got to manage it. You've got to make sure, maintain it. There's other things you can do it. If you're interested in the ins and outs, then my course is going to be perfect for you. But and also the owner cannot nor his family live in that property, because that comes under the sell and rent back, and FCA, they won't allow you to do it. You get heavily fined if you allow them to do this type of deal with the owner or their family staying in the property, so don't touch that. So they move out and you get it. And a lot of people, what they would do, you've got to check that the mortgage, it has the ability, but they turn it into an HMO or a mini-mo or a service accommodation. so they can increase their income. So that's what I did, and I can tell you the very first one that I did, I was taught to ask people to put their mortgage onto interest only. I would never do that again, because that was the wrong teacher. I was certainly not financially qualified, and also I'd have a vested interest, so I couldn't do that. I didn't ask them. I just said, look, the only way I could do it is if it was on interest only. That's your decision. They took some advice. They took it. They put it back to interest only. It went down, can you believe it, to £79 a month. £79. Why did they want to get out? Well, so that's a really important thing, and you've got to listen to people. But they wanted to move out because they had trouble with neighbours, and they hated having a responsibility of paying all the rent, all of the bills, the council tax, the mortgage and everything else. They were a working couple, but they saved to buy, and then they didn't like it, so they wanted to go back into rented accommodation. And so they, again, they weren't going to pay to council tax and all this stuff because they were very low earners. And I took the property on, and I can tell you I was making just over £400 a month profit, just over. I managed it, and that paid for my training straight away, and that was the very first one. And then I just went crazy, invested money in marketing, and that's what I did. So the actual purchase lease option is a legal contract between you, the investor, and the owner of the house. It sets a forward price in the future, a time period, and a monthly whatever. So when you get purchase lease, change the word lease for rent. You understand, it's a purchase rent option. But you have the option to buy. They can't sell it to anyone else, okay? They have to have independent legal advice, independent financial advice. They must, okay? So that's done. Quite often you will pay for their legals, but it's a very powerful way to use an option, and I do love them. In the video that you saw on Wednesday with the agents that I was talking about, that I befriended one of the agents who really understood the investment part, and he said, look, if I find stuff, that was it. And he's actually looking if he can find direct himself, because I've said we'd even give you a slice of the deal if it came through. But I said, look, typically on probate properties where you have people who are going, inherited a property and they're really bad nick. And let's say, it doesn't matter what price, whether it's $1 million or whether it's 100,000, it doesn't matter. Let's say it's 100,000, but it's in really bad condition. It needs £20,000 spending on it, and then it's going to be worth 150. Okay, let's say that. So what I said to him, I said, look, if you have any of those, I'll happily provide a service, because I don't really want to buy it. If I buy it, I've got the stamp and everything else, but happily do an option, and this would be a purchase option. So I'm not paying something as a lease unless there's a mortgage on it, but quite often probate says nothing on it. So I use a purchase option, means I don't have to pay them anything. I would go in, I put my £20,000, I'll manage everything to do a really nice refurb with the agreement that their purchase price would be, let's say, 95. So when we sell it to the open market to anyone, it goes, I keep the estate agent in play, it goes from the estate agent, it's sold at 150,000. The estate agent gets their bit, solicitors get their bit, the vendor gets their 95, I get my 20,000. That's going to leave, what's that going to leave? 115. It's going to leave about 35, let's say £30,000 in profit. So who gets that? Well, it depends. I could have just said, look, I'll do it that, and I take all the profit. I can say, look, I'll do that, allow me to do that, and then we'll split the profit, 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. I don't know, it's open. That's the beauty about it, it's a blank sheet of paper. Look, I just wanted to give you a little bit of understanding of what you can do with an option. On purchase options as well, which we're looking at doing more and more, looking at land where we can get planning permission on it and then sell it with planning permission. That's called planning game, very powerful, and you can make lots of money, but you've got to have the right contracts in place. Otherwise you're spending money, you're going to lose it because you're not listening to me. Do not do anything without solicitor's contract. Don't think you can make it up yourself, and don't listen to people who say, yeah, do it yourself, because again, you're going to get it wrong, you're going to lose your investment. Guys, hope you like it. Please comment, please share, and again, if you're interested in my training, it's here. Just drop me an email and I'll give you the link. Bless you. God bless. Bye-bye.